Design it is that it has a very small piece of my soul, like minuscule, like just a very, very tiny, which was achieved by putting a single teardrop into the microchip.
Yes. It's a patent informed of soul extraction that we've created to
it's one of the many franchisee side hustles we have.
make the Ben AI that edits our episodes now.
It's a smart move not to use you.
Okay. Well, you need a soul.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, well said.
I gave up mine a long time ago for podcast success. Mephistopheles. Mephistopheles.
I guess he's not listening.
No. He's not a fan of the pod. Anyway, howdy, partners. This is a big day for me because I've got my two best film friends on the pod.
Wow.
I've got Ben from the podcast.
Hello.
And Max.
Hello, gentlemen.
Yeah, who we see a lot of movies together, Max and I, a lot at the Varsity. And
none particularly good.
So, yeah, we have a pretty shitty track
What's
record.
the best movie you've ever seen together?
Don't say the BIKERIDERS.
Well, no, obviously not. That would be a lie.
What is? We saw Polyester.
Yeah.
Great.
At the Paradise, though.
The Paradise Theater. But in terms of recent releases, it would have to be Challengers, I imagine.
Oh, okay. Good.
Yeah.
Which was like a year ago.
Yeah.
The very last thing we saw together was the Irish Sheep Revenge film, and that's not bad.
Right. Not bad? Huh?
Yeah, it's just good.
I can't do it. Can you do it?
It wasn't bad.
There you go.
No,
Thanks.
Yeah.
That's great.
The AI will take care of it.
The AI will select that clip as the best clip.
The AI will elongate your ba.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, of course I can always override the AI by adding a single drop of urine to the microchip. It's all fluid based. There's a little slot at the computer and a little dropper that I use, a little turkey baster.
Fluid based AI technology.
Yeah.
It's the future. Yeah, Max is an old friend from advertising school.
One of the madmen that Alex brings around.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Max got out of the game.
I got out pretty quickly.
Nice.
I couldn't cut it.
But now we're in the film game. Oh, yeah, and Max has slowly but surely been assembling like a real letterboxed audience, pilfering people from my friends list.
My favorite thing.
Yeah?
My favorite thing is to go look at Alex's followers and then follow them.
Yeah.
And then slowly chip away at having them engage with my content on Letterboxd.
Oh,
Yeah.
sure. Yeah. Well, you can do that
It's
with
amazing.
my followers now.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, lots of great followers to mine, I think.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Make sure you follow all of us on Letterboxd.
Yeah.
We've got Ben Turnbull.
Yeah, it's Ben_Turnbull. I don't know why. It's stupid.
We've got the Wizza, which is me. The WZA.
Yep.
And I actually don't know what mine is. So I think it's my first initial last name.
Yeah.
M. Bertram.
M. Bertram, yeah.
Right. There you go.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got a text once after we both saw the same movie. And all of his friends had engaged on my
Yeah.
and
It drives me crazy.
It drives me nuts. So
That's great.
Oh,
I'm gonna
consider that a job well done.
I'm
And I
gonna
also
start
get
doing
a perverse sense of joy when Ben likes one of my reviews because it
Sure.
seems like it's not every day that I get one of those. So.
Yeah,
It's a
well,
big
you know,
deal.
and it would be every day. And I pared it down. And then I was like, I'm never seeing anybody's reviews that I actually know.
Yeah.
I'm just seeing like, you know, some weirdo who like, you know, and then I went through and it was like, oh, it was so brutal. Just the culling, you know, like,
Some spring cleaning of your...
yeah, but like ferocious, you know, like you visit the page and you see the top 4 and then you see the 4 movies that they watched recently. And then if they have any dorky notes, they're like, my star ratings are based on blah, 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 you know, like, you know, my favorite is the formula is actually blah, blah, blah. And, you know, you just click delete. But every now and again you get to someone and it's like, it's a real borderline case where you're like, I feel like they've liked my reviews and I've certainly liked theirs, but they have terrible taste. And I don't want to see their face anymore. And, you know.
Max doesn't have to deal with this because he's a happily married man. But there's another thing, too, where when you're meeting people these days, you know, when you're trading socials and whatnot on the dating scene, you might trade Letterboxd. And it could always be like, you like that? Or like, you know, judge someone on their top 4. It's obviously a superficial and shitty way to be, but you can't help but think about it, you know?
Well, I did go on a date recently.
Nice.
For the first time in a long time.
What was your favorite movie?
What
was her favorite movie?
Oh, I don't know. But I do follow her on Letterboxd now.
I could hear you vape on mic.
I know. I just realized how close I was to the mic. I'm
sorry. Oh no! If you can get the vape noise on mic, that'd be great. I've got the spray here, so I'm going to try to get the spray on mic as well. No, but we both logged the same Gene Hackman movie and gave it, I would say, similar ratings.
Which
within
one?
a half star. Oh, well, we'll get to that on the
okay.
weekly movie roundup.
Yeehaw.
I mean, why don't we just do it now?
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
That's very cute. That's very kismet.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, it's nice. I like movie dorks, and I am a movie dork, and I like to be friends with movie dorks, and I guess date them hypothetically.
I never thought about Letterboxd being a platform for assisting in dating.
It's all I think about.
I've seen recently on my LinkedIn feed people trying to. So honestly, it's much preferred for it to be on Letterboxd than a professional networking service. So
yeah, trying to hit on people on LinkedIn is
super rough.
I have heard many many horror stories of that from work colleagues.
Jesus,
people who added them with ill intent.
Oh my God.
Just bizarre.
Perhaps we can network over a coffee.
All right, let's see if we can get the Nicorette quick mist sound on the mic. Here's the opening of the capsule. You hear that?
Yeah.
Here's the spray.
Oh, that sounded
totally
great.
be on there, yeah.
That was good. That was ASMR nicotine spray.
It feels so good when you take the load.
Max is a hardcore vapist, and when we go see movies,
you sneak it in the theater?
I do what I call my magician sleeve, where I'm doing it right now.
Yeah, let's see it.
You don't have to.
No,
you do have to.
Yeah, so.
And he doesn't blow it out. He absorbs the vape.
You just don't. You just.
Which is thoughtful for the other people in the movie theater,
but it's
like,
probably not good for your lungs.
Lord no.
You don't have to do that here. You can blow it out.
You can blow
but
it
now
out.
it's force of habit. Even if I'm alone at home,
That's great.
I stop breathing for a few minutes to keep it in my lungs.
It really did look like, for the listener, it really did look like Max just, brought up a sleeved hand to his mouth, like in wonder of the film, or like he was having an emotional reaction to the film.
Yeah, when Austin Butler was in the BIKERIDERS, I was amazed.
When Tom Hardy's character dies,
God.
you just kind of have to.
I know. Oh yeah, I remember the BIKERIDERS.
Few people do.
I remember that. That movie was A-okay. Ain't nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, it kind of became like a litmus test, like barometer for us. Like seeing a movie, was it better or worse than the BIKERIDERS? Would you rather watch that again?
It's in the dead center.
Because the BIKERIDERS is like the plutonic, like 3-star movie,
Sure.
So if you liked it more than the BIKERIDERS, if you'd like to watch it relatively soon again after, it should be over 3 stars.
Well, let's talk about some more 3-star classics and perhaps beyond. Let's see. I can go first.
Sure.
Yeah. What do we got here? So shortly after A Fistful of Dollars, I was in the mood for a Western.
Okay.
Despite coming out like in 1966, a couple years after Fistful of Dollars, it's much more of an old-fashioned Western, and that's Howard Hawks' El Dorado.
Cool.
Howard Hawks made some of the greatest Westerns of all time, like Red River or Rio Bravo, right? And Rio Bravo in particular, such a great movie that he thought, why don't we make that again? And then why don't we make it one more time? So El Dorado is essentially a remake. And then like his last movie, Rio Lobo, is like just the same thing again. They all star John Wayne. This one is John Wayne and Robert Mitchum in the like drunk Dean Martin role. And then the young kid, instead of Ricky Nelson in Rio Bravo, it's a young James Caan.
Oh,
yeah,
cool.
who's very good in it. I won't get into it, but there's one scene he does that's absolutely like terrible and awful, and it kind of is a spoiler on the movie. The rest of it's very good though. Yeah, it's a racist scene, I'll give you that.
Okay.
It's a young James Caan being racist in a ludicrous way. Anyway, without getting into it too much, I watched a couple of Buñuel movies. So
Nice.
like on February 22nd, I was looking for work. I was looking at the They Shoot Pictures list. That's my kind of version of your 1,000 greatest list. Like it's 1,000 movies that I've been working through for like a really long time. So I'm like close to 75%. And so yeah, Buñuel is actually the director with the most movies on that list as of right now. And I mean, he's just got a lot of great movies, but it is a little weird. Like you'd think it'd be somebody else.
Yeah, give someone else a shot. They shoot pictures.
Yeah, I know. It's not their fault. So anyway, I was just looking and my hand just kind of went to Viridiana, which is like one of his most acclaimed movies. And then later I watched it. I enjoyed it. I didn't like it as much as some of his other ones. Like you remember Nazarene? I was talking about that.
Yeah.
It's kind of like that, but it's like, it's kind of, well, it's more funny. Nazarene's not very funny, but it's also a little bit, I found it kind of mean-spirited. And I mean, that's like a given, I think, with Buñuel a little bit, like that it would be, not mean-spirited, but like there'd be an edge to it. I don't know, though. Whatever. Anyway, I found out later it was his birthday. Isn't that weird? Like his ghost was guiding my hand to the DVD.
On February 22nd.
Yeah.
Wow.
I didn't know, but then I was just like, I felt the urge, right?
Yeah.
And that coincidence made me watch The Exterminating Angel the next day, or 2 days after.
Right.
Which I really liked. I mean, that's like his greatest movie, maybe.
I gotta watch that.
Yeah, it's really, really good. You know what it's about, right?
No.
No? They're a bunch of like bourgeois people are having like a fancy dinner party, and instead of leaving at the end of the night, they all feel compelled to just kind of fall asleep in the salon, and then when they wake up, they can't leave. Like there's no physical obstacle stopping them, but when they go to the kind of arch to go to the other room, they like physically can't go through it.
Interesting.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's great. It's really great. Twin Peaks Fire Walk with Me, I know we're going to talk about that.
Yep.
That was at the review on a 35 millimeter print, and I was kind of concerned the audience would be obnoxious, but they were pretty respectful. Like, it's a funny movie, right? The first part's funny, but then it's like one of the least funny movies ever. And I was really hoping people weren't going to be like yucking it up, and for the most part, it was really good. I watched the missing pieces, like the deleted scenes, right?
Yes.
After that, which I like. And then I will drop this into the last episode, the best of episode. I did see Universal Language.
I've heard that's good.
Yeah, really good. Definitely one of the best Canadian movies of the year. Like it's up there. I have to put it on the Matt and Mara list. It can share the Matt and Mara slot. Really impressed. Like, I don't know, if you're gonna make a kind of a Kiarostami sort of pastiche, like that's fine by me. I like those movies, and maybe we'll do the Coker trilogy one day.
Maybe,
right?
yeah. The people
Eventually.
are dying for the Coker trilogy.
I know, we're gonna get like 500 downloads an episode. For
Yeah.
that. And then lastly, two other ones, the Anderson Tapes, which is a Sidney Lumet movie with fricking James Bond in it.
James Bond.
Sean Connery.
Yeah, Sean Connery. It's like a heist movie that also has elements of like the paranoia thriller in the 70s. Like it's a little bit of there's a little surveillance and security, which like doesn't work as well as the heist. The heist though is really good. You've seen that one, Max?
No, but I saw it on Criterion.
Yeah,
and I
that's
keep
where I watched
thinking, if I remember, is Christopher Walken in it?
It's his first
movie.
movie. And introducing Christopher Walken. Yeah. And he's like, he's young and fresh faced, and then he robs, and then bad things happen to him.
I check that out.
Yeah, that's a really solid 3-star and a heart movie.
Okay.
That is like that is better than the Bike Riders, and yet at the same level.
Okay, I have a question for the two of you because you guys are more discerning letterbox users. When do you not, or what qualifies a heart for you guys? I never give one.
I don't use them at all.
Yeah, so if you either use them or you don't. Like a lot of people don't use them, and that's fine.
A lot of people use them and no stars.
Yeah, that's true. I just like to give it a heart if it's like, because the heart puts it on your list of likes or whatever.
So it's for your own personal look back.
Yeah, well, I'd give it a heart if I liked it, right?
Yeah.
So if I thought this Anderson Tapes was like relatively disposable and I wouldn't want to think about it again, I probably wouldn't give it a heart.
Because I see some people give like kind of middling star ratings, but then a heart, which
Yeah.
to me kind of denotes like this movie is like just okay, but this person has a soft spot in this person's heart. Like I would give Rob Zombie's film, The Lords of Salem, 3 stars and a heart.
Sure.
Because as Bike Riders as I think that movie is, I've watched it like 3 times. For some reason, I just
Yeah,
find
I
it
like that
very like
movie.
disposable and like enjoyable.
Yeah, for sure. And very lastly, Prime Cut, because Gene Hackman died. So I'm sure I'll rewatch Royal Tenenbaums sometime soon. Like for me, that was always the key Gene Hackman performance, because that was such a big high school movie for me and my friends, and we'd always quote it. And
He's so funny in it.
Yeah, even in our group chat, someone was like, I'm sorry for your loss. Your mother was a terribly attractive woman. and then I was saying, anybody want to grab some burgers and hit up the cemetery? Just lots of like, it's just such a great performance. And my friend Chris and I saw The Conversation recently at the review, which is probably my one of my favorite movies and one of the best Hackman performances and so on. And so this one's like, he's more of a supporting role, but he's so sleazy in it. It's like a really sleazy,
Does
lurid
it qualify
movie.
for the Horny Hackman Hall of Fame?
I would say yes, but in an upsetting way.
Oh,
Yeah, because
yeah.
he's basically like a cattle, like a pig farmer, but he also has like sexual slavery auctions. Yeah, including a young sissy SpaceX. So Lee Marvin plays a Chicago Irish mob enforcer who comes to collect a debt from Hackman, and he comes in and they're having like a pig pen auction full of naked girls. And it's totally, the movie is like totally ludicrous.
Yeah.
At one point, Lee Marvin and Sissy Spacek are like trying to escape the bad guys, and they're in this like wide open field, and this huge thresher is coming at them. It's great. It's kind of like North by Northwest, that scene actually.
But with a thresher?
Yeah, driven by some like corn-pone hick,
That's
There's
awesome.
there are so many hicks in this movie,
Yeah.
and Lee Marvin's just like bum, 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 bum. Yeah. Anyway, and Hackman is really gross in it. He's really yucky.
Great.
Yeah.
What's
Yeah.
it called? Prime
Cut.
Maybe I'll
Honestly,
check it out.
it's like irresistible. You have to watch it. It's so gross though.
I'm sold.
Yeah. What about you?
Well, I mean, like this episode comes out in the future, so the Hackman mystery will probably be solved by then.
The great Hackman mystery.
Yeah, they'll probably
Yeah,
figure
I
it all
don't
out.
know. It's like, it sucks when things like that happen. And same with Michelle Trachtenberg, right? The day before or whatever.
Yeah,
And-
Harriet the Spy.
yeah, and everyone's like speculating on what happened and being weird about it, and it's like, all right, let's just pump the brakes and
Let's
wait a
have some
couple
respect
days.
for the dead.
Yeah, respect for the dead who deserve it.
Yeah,
When someone shitty dies, you can make fun of them.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Like Morgan Spurlock.
I knew you were going to say Morgan Spurlock.
You can dedicate 2 episodes to...
Buried one day, ravaged by the franchisees the very next day.
Yeah, we're carrion crawlers.
Yeah.
We're cinematic carrion crawlers. Well, I only have one movie, really. Well, I guess at the resort, I just got back from Mexico, guys. And at the resort, there were some HBO channels. And you kind of just like end up watching what's on at a certain point. Like at one point, the Bike Riders was on. And I sent Max a video
That's
of...
so funny.
Yeah, really
Did you
funny
watch
scene.
it again?
No, I couldn't get through the whole thing.
Yeah.
Without lying, I think I fell asleep.
I would like to put this challenge out to the listeners. It's called the Bike Riders Challenge. It's only for listeners who have already seen the Bike Riders. You can't start now. If you've seen the Bike Riders Challenge is to try to watch the whole movie again. If you can make it through, you win. Email us at thefranchiseespod@gmail.com and we will send you a motorcycle.
A Harley, a BMW, whatever you want.
Whatever you want.
I'm trying to think what else was on. It was funny. It was like a franchisee's kind of retrospective at the resort, because at one point 300 Rise of an Empire was on. Trash movie. Gladiator was on at one point. But what did I actually sit through and watch in its entirety one night in my hotel room alone? Fuck. I think I watched something that was like half decent, I think, but I didn't. Oh, so also on the TV at the resort, I watched True Grit, which was fitting for the series we're kind of
The
doing.
original or the
no,
remake?
the Coen Brothers one. And I think I'd only seen it once before with my mom in theaters.
Yeah.
But I liked it. I liked it a bunch. It's fun. Like, I think all three leads, Haley Steinfeld, Matt Damon, and Rooster Cogburn, give really good performances.
No love for Josh Brolin.
Oh, he's so lost in the role that I almost forget that it's him as Lee Chaney.
He's pretty out there in that movie.
He's got a small role.
Yeah.
I don't think I like Barry Pepper as Ned Pepper in that movie. He's a bit like
Battlestar Galactica himself. No, sorry. Battlefield Earth.
I've never seen that movie.
Same thing, yeah. We'll do True Grit, Rooster.
True Grit.
There's a sequel, Rooster. Isn't it called Rooster Cogburn?
I don't know about
Anyway, there's those two and then that one. We'll do it next.
Yeah, we'll do it immediately after these westerns.
Yeah, we're only doing westerns from now on.
But then on my day, the day I arrived, I shuttled myself over to Max's place as quickly as possible because he lives in Roncesvalles, and dropped my suitcase off, and then literally ran to the review to make the screening of Fire Walk With Me that I had tickets for.
Nice.
I met up with my friend Dylan, and friend of the pod Austin was also at that screening.
Oh, great.
This was the first time I'd watched Fire Walk With Me since having watched The Return as well.
Mm-hmm.
And it just made me kind of sit back and go like, wow, we were so lucky to have this, like
yeah.
David Lynch was such a master of like pivoting, like when Mulholland Drive, the show, got canceled, so he had to like change the second half to make it more of a movie. The like pivots Twin Peaks went through, like with the original run of the show, and then David Lynch's departure, and then his return, and then Fire Walk With Me, and then the return. He somehow like, takes these curveballs he's thrown and spins them around to get this like thing that feels like it was all meant to be as is, like there's no production. Like Twin Peaks is exactly as it should be. I get why like some people could have problems with Fire Walk With Me. Like at the time it probably pissed off a lot of fans and whatnot. But like in retrospect, being able to like watch this totemic monumental thing, it's a masterpiece. It's great.
Yeah, it is. It's some days it's my favorite movie he made, but I know that's difficult because you have to really to enjoy it. You have to have seen many hours of TV.
I don't know how it would work necessarily in a vacuum. And
I know a couple of people who've just watched it and they're like, "This is crazy. I have no idea what's going on, but it's amazing," and I love that.
It does have some of his best like imagery ever. Like all the stuff in the convenience store upstairs is like super interesting.
We got to watch The Missing Pieces for more convenience store.
Yeah,
I've
seen The Missing Pieces.
There's a little star that was like more convenience store.
Yeah, now with 50% more convenience
Bowie too,
store.
Yeah.
More Bowie.
Hell, God, baby, damn, no, I found something. Pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
You do a good Philip Jeffries.
I've been working on it.
Here's my Gene Hackman. Otisburg. Remember from Superman?
Yeah. He is Lex Luthor.
Definitely in Superman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Otisburg.
I was trying to do the Gene Hackman chuckle, where he'd go like, but I can't do it. I don't know. He does it a lot in Prime Cut because it's disgusting, man.
Can't wait.
Yeah.
So anyway, I just watched a bunch of schlock on TV at the resort, and then Twin Peaks Fire Walk With Me as soon as I got back.
Yeah. Well, I've been watching Severance. Talk about TV.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And you know what? I enjoy it.
Wow.
I am having a good time. I'm outing myself as a
TV
boy.
TV boy.
I'm being very brave, and I'm telling you I've watched TV. However, I'll say, as good as it is, and I've watched hours of it. If it were a movie, if it were like a 2-hour movie, it would be way better. You know what I mean? Because it's just decompressed. If you could compress it into 2 hours, it would be really good. But it's fun.
No, that's great.
Yeah.
I did also just want to quickly say that I completely forgot about Hitman on the best of the year episodes, and it would have been somewhere up there, like in the honorable mentions or like towards the end. I might have had to like give Cherub the boot, to be honest, and I might have had to replace Ben.
Don't include it on the list.
I might have had to replace Ben with Glenn Powell.
Yeah, what else is new? Everyone's doing that these days. I was supposed to be in Twisters.
Yeah, but then they were like,
Yeah, too fat. That's what they said. They said, "What we need someone hotter." And you know what? I don't know. I didn't see the movie. I was too upset.
I still haven't seen it either.
Yeah.
It was on TV at the resort, and its Spanish name is Tornadoes.
Yeah. Well, good. What about you, Max?
What have I seen?
I gave
watched a lot
Max
of movies.
access to my Criterion
Oh,
channel,
yeah.
and it's
Nice.
ruined his life.
Oh,
it
yeah,
has.
yeah, that'll do it.
I would say, in terms of like how I approach watching movies, I'm a discerning populist. So when Ben, when you started speaking about that one director, I kind of lost track of what was going on.
Buñuel.
Yeah, I've never
Oh,
heard of
yeah.
him.
You love his movies.
Yeah.
I can lend you. I have a trilogy of them that the Criterion put out. You'd
Oh,
love those.
Right on.
What's the best one to start with, you think? Like Discreet Charm of Bourgeoisie or Belle de Jour or something?
Either Belle de Jour or that Obscure Object of Desire.
His last movie?
Yeah, I think
Maybe.
you'd get a kick out of that one. It's really weird.
I mean, Exterminating Angel is kind of a really good spot to start, too.
That's true. Yeah.
Right
Anyway.
on.
So
what-
discerning populist.
Discerning populist, love a nice art house film, but also I'm a big fan of the Has Fallen series, which I've been pushing for this show to cover for
We
a while.
will do it. I
Yeah.
guarantee it. Yeah, in the next 5
It's
years, we will
it
do it.
has some of my favorite performances.
But also, you're also a big fan of Mission Impossible, which
am
we
a big
may or
fan
may
of
not
Mission
be getting
Impossible.
to.
Yeah.
You may or may not have that in common with Ben, who may or may
Yes.
not have been really strong-arming me into doing it.
Yeah, I'm pretty fired up for this year.
Yeah, I'm excited, too. I mean, it's the final reckoning. So, like, it doesn't get better than that.
No,
Didn't they change the name?
Yeah, it's no longer Dead Reckoning
Oh,
Part 2.
that was
it's
it. Yeah,
Final
yeah.
Reckoning.
Yeah.
They should
And
have just
he-
kept them all together. Mission Impossible, Dead Reckoning Part 2, The Final Reckoning.
The Final Reckoning. Yeah, that would have been good.
Over the last week, I watched For a Few Dollars More.
Well, goes without saying.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, we're doing that tonight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I watched Cabaret, which I had been putting off
Oh,
for a
great.
very long time because there's nothing I dislike more when people spontaneously start singing. But in Cabaret, I knew when they were in said cabaret,
Yes.
that's when the singing would happen.
Yes.
When they were not in the cabaret, then it was just genuine performances and no singing and dancing. And
Yeah.
I really enjoyed that movie.
What a great movie,
I
right?
thought that it was, for 1972, fairly progressive.
Yeah, absolutely.
I was blown away by Liza Minnelli's performance in particular.
Yeah, perfect time in the world to. Well, really, there's never been a bad time to watch it, but especially right now, where it feels like we're watching. It feels like we're all Sally Bowles, like just kind of ditzing around.
Yeah.
and vaguely in the background, the rise of Nazis. Are
Exactly. Yeah.
like that's like one of the greatest scenes in that movie, like when they're out like at a park or something,
The
right?
singing?
Yeah, and
Yeah.
this little like boy starts singing, and he slowly kind of come around, and it's this little like Nazi Hitler Youth boy.
Yeah.
and they're singing this like I don't
Tomorrow
remember the
Belongs
lyrics.
to
Tomorrow
Me or
belongs to
something
us.
like that,
Yeah. Oh God.
Yeah. And also shout out to, I think it's Michael York,
Yeah,
who
Basil.
Basil Exposition.
because that's the only thing I know him from.
Yeah, he's actually really good in it,
yeah.
isn't he? Yeah.
Twins, Basil.
Yeah. So I watched that.
I can't wait till we do Austin Powers.
It's going to be great.
Next. We'll do it next.
I also watched Tangerine, Sean Baker's film.
Nice. Oh, so fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It really was. Watched that on Tubi.
I gotta watch more Sean Baker.
Yeah.
Yeah. you
Apparently,
love
it's only
Tangerine.
better. Like, it only gets better.
I don't think Gomorrah is one of his better movies.
There you go.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
who knows? You know.
I watched Alan Partridge, Alpha Papa.
Nice.
I think I have a DVD of that somewhere in here. That's a masterpiece.
I did laugh, and it was difficult because my wife was asleep, and I was watching it on my headphones, so she could probably just hear like if I wasn't vaping, I was laughing. So she like,
I mean, that's a great review for the box. You know, if I wasn't vaping, I was laughing.
When
I,
the wife goes to sleep,
yeah.
I get to play.
well, that's become like
Alan
my
Partridge Alpha Papa.
exactly. That's become my new ritual. Sarah will go to sleep before I do, and then I put the headphones on and
Okay.
I'm watching movies.
Nice.
So yeah, that was quite funny. September 5th. September 5th.
Yes. Yeah.
Just like it's fine.
Yeah. I know. I got kind of tricked into watching that in the theater because I thought it was going to be a major Oscar player.
So did I.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I watched it, and I'm like, ugh, whatever. It's not bad or whatever. It's just like, why now?
Oh yeah, why now? And
Why
also,
now?
I'm getting very tired of like the journalist circle jerk stories that keep coming out where
Yeah, it's definitely one of those.
Yeah.
Yeah.
where they are self-congratulating themselves for existing and validating that they are change makers.
Without journalism, the world would cease to function.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and then one of the funnier things about September 5 in particular is that it's specifically ABC,
Apolitical.
right?
Yeah.
No. Like the company is it's ABC, right? Who's doing it or whatever?
CBS.
Or maybe it's it's whatever. It's one of those companies,
Yeah.
right? And it's like it's not really like if we don't tell the story, no one will. It's like if we don't tell the story, CNN will.
Yeah.
It was important that we did it.
Yeah.
Yeah, silly.
Which made me think of the movie Munich, which I hadn't thought about in a very long time.
That's a much better movie.
I remember really liking Munich.
Yeah.
And then, in honor of the late Gene Hackman, I watched The Package.
Ah, excellent.
Which one's
Yeah.
The Package?
It's from 1989 with Tommy Lee Jones as well.
Nice.
And
Good duo.
Yeah, it's a great duo of
Yeah.
curmudgeon.
Yeah, grumpy men.
And
grumpy old men, yeah.
But it's a very boilerplate late 80s political thriller.
Yeah. I think it's like Andrew Davis, the guy who
It
did
is
like,
Andrew Davis,
Yeah,
The
the
Fugitive.
Fugitive.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll probably get around to that. Yeah.
Yeah, so that was fun.
Gene Hackman's Package.
Exactly. I struggled with what I should write for that review.
The Hackage.
But he had just died, so I didn't really want to talk about Hackman's Package.
No, I guess not.
But it did make me think of my favorite Gene performances are the horny Hackman performances, like
course.
Night Moves.
No, I love Night Moves.
Yeah.
I got a poster of Night Moves in my apartment. That's one of my all-time favorite Hackmans, for sure. Like, oh God, yeah. When he's in bed, post-coital bliss, and he's eating fondue.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Doesn't get any better than that.
No.
Yeah.
Is there a movie? Is it the late 90s or early 2000s, like Heartbreakers, where it was Gene Hackman
Yeah.
And
with like?
Sigourney
I've never
Weaver
seen
and
that.
Jennifer Love Hewitt.
I haven't seen it since I was like
Yeah.
a child, but like it helped usher in my sexual awakening.
For Hackman.
For
Gene Hackman
Gene
and
Hackman.
Jennifer Love Hewitt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're like
Two
one
beautiful people.
day I will become Gene Hackman.
With Jennifer Love Hewitt.
and
Yeah.
I will love Hewitt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then finally last night I watched Nickel Boys. which
Nice.
I had been meaning to. Alex and I were going to go. Never happened. And I thought it was absolutely phenomenal.
I gotta see
Great
that.
movie. Yeah,
Yeah.
you got to see it, Alex. Yeah.
It truly is. Like, I'm sure there are other films that maybe have that first person narrative, but
Enter the Void.
Yeah, but none.
Show.
I don't. There's none that I can think of that do it as well
as well as this. Yeah.
Yeah, which I know just like by default, for some people, it's not going to work for them.
Yeah.
because it will be too remote. But I don't. I've never seen that technique used in a way used better than Nickel Boys. Like,
I think there's sequences in the Doom movie where it goes first person to try to emulate the video game.
yeah, there is, and I believe in the extended DVD
Are you
cut,
Dwayne
there's
The
a
Rock
longer
Johnson?
version of that.
Great.
It's like now with extra first person.
Oh boy, this is what the people wanted.
I'd love to watch Doom with you.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, let's have a
that'd
Doom
be a really
night.
short franchise because there's only one.
Yeah,
Does that count?
we could talk about the games.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I played one of the games for a while, and then I was like, okay, I'm kind of tired of all this killing. I just killed so many demons,
I played Doom Eternal, the most recent one they made
Yeah,
before
that
this
might
new
have
one
been the
comes
one I
out.
played. Yeah,
It's pretty hardcore, pretty fun.
it was gnarly.
It was gnarly.
Yeah.
Anyway, you know what else is gnarly? Spaghetti westerns.
Oh, yeah.
Spaghetti.
Western.
Spaghetti westerns.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're back. Sergio Leone, Ennio Morricone. What's another funny Italian name?
Using their real names this time. They didn't have to hide their Italian names.
Yeah. Well, the year. So the first one's 64, and this is 65, right?
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah.
So there in the States there was a huge movement for Italian rights. Italian names no longer had to be censored in the States.
Yeah.
People realized Italy is a place, and maybe I'll visit there. Maybe I'll go to Rome. I'll go to the Vatican.
Il
Maybe
Duomo.
I'll go to the Amalfi Coast. Maybe I'll go to Sicily.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll get a proper pizza from the place it was invented, which I believe is Naples.
Molto bene.
Yeah. It was just a major push from like Italian tourism. And everyone said, you know what? Maybe Italy isn't so bad.
Giuseppe's can be Giuseppe's.
Yeah,
And they don't
instead
have
of
to-
Johnny's or whatever.
Joseph, yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know what the translation-
Giacomo's can remain Giacomo's, which is one of the greatest names I think in any language.
You truly.
Yeah.
Giacomo. That's not how it's pronounced, is it?
In America.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Oh, really?
I know a Giacomo.
Yeah.
I'm not even kidding.
Yeah. I'm writing a
It's
book,
such a shame.
Giacomo's I've Known.
Like Giacomo.
Giacomo.
It becomes Giacomo.
Yeah, Giacomo. It's a great name. It's a great name.
Sounds like Jackalope.
It does.
Or,
Yeah.
Anyway,
For a few dollars more.
for a few dollars more, which
Yeah.
Max had watched completely independently,
Yes.
not knowing
Yep.
that this opportunity would land in your lap.
I know.
Yeah, we've been
first
meaning
off,
to have you on for a long time.
It
and
is an
worked
honor and a
out.
privilege. I was waiting. You know, you guys were in the weeds with.
We've been in a lot of weeds.
Yeah, with some films that not necessarily align with my.
Yeah, like the Bergman movies, or
Yeah, I'm more again. Angel has fallen. I've been pushing for. You guys should focus on more of that lowbrow type content.
Well, I think we probably will. I mean, I think this is. Well, these movies are interesting because
They're a nice in between.
Yeah, it's a great in between because they're extremely popular in America.
Yeah.
Despite being like made in Europe, but they're also in English. Like the majority of the versions we would watch would be English, and they're like in a traditionally American accessible genre, the Western genre, but they're also like high art films in their own way, right? So
Yeah.
I loved this movie.
Me too.
I was like, oh, A Fistful of Dollars, like 5 stars, and you're like, you're blowing your wad too early.
Yeah.
Well, like that may be true.
Yeah.
However, I think this is just as good, if not better.
Yep.
But maybe this will just be the best trilogy we've ever done, where every movie is like perfect.
It annoys me that I think I think this might be one of film's greatest trilogies.
Oh,
No,
yeah.
no
And
doubt.
It
Yeah.
annoys me that I agree with Quentin Tarantino. And that really bugs me.
Yeah.
I wanted to dislike it. And I have a special relationship with The Good, the Bad, the Ugly. That is one of my favorite movies.
Nice.
When I was in grade 7, I won a speech competition, so I went to all the other private schools to, I think, Ridley College, and I had won at my school, went to Ridley College, and I had written my speech using the good, the bad, the ugly as a metaphor for my siblings.
Oh, that's funny.
So
Yeah.
my sister was the bad, my brother was the good, and I was the ugly. And I was Eli Wallach, and I've continued to go back to that film, but I had noticed I had never seen the original. Like, I didn't even know it was a trilogy because they kind of all stand alone.
Definitely.
Yeah, they're more thematic trilogies. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, they're oral histories like Mad
Max,
Max.
yeah.
I love seeing all the same people back.
Sure.
Well,
yeah.
not all the same people, but
But now in this one, you get Lee Van Cleef, who comes back in The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly.
Yeah.
But in this one, he's also a good guy, and in that one, he gets to finally be a bad guy. It's a lot of fun.
I haven't seen these since high school, or even maybe before that. It was a long time ago, and I had the least memory of this one, so I was really pleasantly surprised. It's kind of like watching it for the first time. And Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, I'm sure, is going to be the best of the bunch. But I don't know. I love Lee Van Cleef as like a tortured hero kind of.
He's so good in this. Yeah.
He's
What's
really
his
good.
character's name again? General.
Mortimer.
Yeah. Douglas Mortimer.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah, of course, Clint Eastwood is Rick, and he's Morty, and they go on adventures on the Wild West.
Jeez, I don't know, Rick. No,
wait, he's Rick,
yeah. Sorry.
Yeah. Hey, Mortimer.
What does Lee Van Cleef sound like?
Lee Van Cleef. Okay, when he first speaks, I'm like, well, that's not that.
It can't be his voice.
It can't be his voice, but it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's him.
Him and Eastwood were the only ones I think who actually did their own.
Yeah, they went back to do the because when he talks, like, he's supposed to be American, but I think they say he's a colonel, like he's a Southern colonel, and then he
From South Carolina.
Yeah, but he sounds like he's from New Jersey because Lee Van Cleef's from New Jersey.
It's good stuff.
Yeah,
They dropped the where he's from pretty quick.
And they intro him like he's almost seems like he's going to be a bad guy because they're like, oh, the train doesn't stop in Tucarambo or whatever, and he's like, oh, the train will stop in Tucarambo, and he pulls the emergency exit like a TTC subway. It's a fun intro to Lee Van Cleef's character, and then quickly you find out that he's actually on the side of good.
Yeah, well, I mean, he's a bounty hunter who will kill you.
But he's doing it for revenge, not for money.
He is doing it for revenge, which, as we know, is good.
Yeah.
Okay, so it really is a step up, like in pretty much every way.
I felt
like,
pretty vindicated. I felt really good in my review of Fistful of Dollars for being like, there's many iconic elements, but
it's still great.
It for sure, yeah. But this one was a lot more fun watching it.
It's just like better in every way. Like it's shot better. Like he's more like into his style. I think the score is better.
Yep.
I think the thing is though that Fistful has on this maybe is that
Clint.
Yeah, Clint is like sharing pretty much co-lead with Cleef. With Queef. And,
Clint and Cleef.
Clint and Queef.
Chief Cleef.
Chief Cleef. That's good. That's better than Lee Van Queef, which is, I would say, low-hanging fruit. Yeah. Chief Cleef. So they also have the bad guy from the first movie returning, Gian Maria Volante as Indio, the guy who's seemingly has just like killed and pillaged and plundered and raped his way across the West, and is like haunted by it, but is still like incapable of not causing suffering and pain to everybody.
Yeah,
it's an interesting like villain.
Somehow seems like a good hang too.
Yeah, well, him and his boys, like,
they seem to be having a
they
good time.
They seem like until they start kind of killing each other. Yeah, but like he is. I think people talk about like they'll show a picture of some actor from a movie, and they're like, "This is the hottest anyone's ever looked in a movie." This guy is like,
he's fuego.
Yeah,
when he's especially younger.
Yeah,
he looks great.
He is. He's like lounging around in the church, like tormented by his guilt. Like
he looks good,
smoking, sweating, and it's like
he smokes like a drug to like forget about it.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. He is hot. Yeah.
So was I missing something? Like, why is he so tormented by that one specific crime?
I think because so we'll get into the plot more or less. Like basically,
there's there's an evil gang.
Yeah, there's an evil gang. He's the leader. They're planning a bank robbery. They have got a huge like bounty on their heads. Like he's worth 10,000 alone, dead or alive, and all of his gang members are worth a couple thousand each. So Clint is on their trail, and also Chief Cleef is on their trail, and
that's the shit I don't like.
And they end up teaming up to sort of take down the group, and then eventually find out that Chief Cleef is in it for revenge because Indio like raped and murdered his sister. So,
and her husband. Yeah, which would have been his brother-in-law.
Yeah. I think my assumption about why he's so tormented by it, because the first time you see him, so he's stolen the pocket watch that was there,
like a locket,
like a locket, musical like watch, and Lee Van Cleef has his own version of it too, and it plays this little like leitmotif that then is used in a couple of really great scenes where he'll basically flip open the watch and say, when the song ends, that's when we draw.
Yeah, so cool.
So you see him kill a poor guy at the beginning for that, and then it gets used at the end, and we'll talk about that in a really great way. But I guess basically at the end we see the full flashback where he kills this Lee Van Cleef's sister's husband or whatever, and then he's assaulting her, and in the midst of it she kills herself. She shoots herself in the gut with a gun. And I think that my assumption is that he's just like disgusted by himself, like that. But
it just seems that they terrorize and pillage wherever they go.
Yeah, so. but he's haunted by it.
Grief is a tricky thing.
Grief is a tricky thing.
It's a little complex. Like
I'm no therapist, but I would just stop opening the watch. It's just going to remind you of the thing that makes you most sad.
Yeah. I think he's just like disgusted with himself. It's not even that he has like empathy for her. It's just that like it's all self-centered, I think.
Yeah.
It's creepy.
It is.
It's such a creepy scene too, because you hear the gunshot go off, and then you see it like she's holding it at her side. It's disturbing.
Yeah. No.
Yeah.
It was effective for sure.
Yeah.
I got a good feeling about this movie right off, because how Fistful of Dollars was already kind of playing with Western tropes and cliches from like the first generation of Westerns.
Yeah.
This one, it felt like it already was like playing with some of the the templates and the stylistic choices that Sergio made in just the last movie, right? Like there's a moment early on where I forget, it's cutting between like El Indio's eyes and someone else's eyes.
It's the poster. It's the wanted poster.
Yes, with Lee Van Cleef and the El Indio poster.
Yeah, and the Indio poster, it cuts from him. It cuts from the real Indio in his hideout, like laughing, and then it cuts to the poster, which is like this like picture of him laughing.
And then it cuts to Lee Van Cleef's eyes.
Yeah, and it goes back and forth like with the gunshot. Oh yeah.
Oh, that gunshot, by the way. I read that it was filmed in I read someone's post on Reddit about the production of this movie, and that the reason why it sounds so great is they did the audio for the gunshots in a quarry, and so that echo that seems almost unrealistic, that gunshot that's used for every single gunshot.
Yeah.
Some of my favorite audio.
Yeah. Oh, well, and speaking of the audio too, like Italian movies at the time, and I don't know if they still do this, but they were all shot without sound, right?
Yeah.
And a lot of time, when you see them, like the post-dub soundtrack and the lip flap is a little weird, and
it can't be charming.
It can take you out.
It can take you out,
Yeah.
but I think this movie, well, in these movies in general, to make a really good case for it, because I can just like imagine the focus on the visual element so strong, and then like the audio is so well crafted after the fact. Like the lip thing doesn't really bother me, but like all those sound effects are amazing. Like in the watch ticking and the music it makes, and how the diegetic music of the watch turns into the non-diegetic score. During all the confrontations, like it'll start off with that little chimey like lullaby, and then it'll rise to this big epic Morricone thing.
Morricone was like firing on all cylinders too. In addition to the like super quick cuts with the pachoo, that I was like, man, I'm on board. Like it's so exaggerated, right? Like it's just going back and forth.
Yeah.
But then there's another moment, or maybe it was the same moment. I watched it while I was in Mexico on my laptop. I don't have notes.
Yeah.
But like there's a moment where like a crazy like organ swell kept like building up and like ratcheting up tension, and I was like, it's so much more it's just more, it's more like excessive, it's more maximalist than Fistful of Dollars, which again like kind of was laying a bit of groundwork for this movie to just kind of extrapolate on, but I'm very like happy, and I had a lot of fun with the extrapolations.
Yeah. Totally.
I'm not the biggest fan of the Western genre on a whole. More of the archetypal, like Shane and High Noon and The Searchers. For whatever reason, I found this one way more accessible, and I think it's because it breaks some of the tropes of... I initially thought that Lee Van, Chief Cleef, and Clint Eastwood were going to be on opposing sides for the whole movie, and there would be some meetup in their pursuit of Indio. But I really did enjoy the fact that even if it was a dubious partnership, they were partners throughout, which goes against the archetype of that lone gunman on his own in the West. And I found that refreshing because I did enjoy the banter between the two of them.
Oh, yeah.
Well, they've got that great sex scene, right?
Yeah, exactly.
When they first meet, so, Lee Van Cleef is looking through his binoculars, tracking, all the guards and all the bad guys and everything. And then he sees Clint across the way in his binoculars, and they're looking at each other, right? And then when they meet out, this great a love scene where Clint keeps shooting his hat. And he's shooting his hat, and Lee Van Cleef still goes and walks over and picks it up and keeps shooting it. And then eventually they're kind of standing off a little bit. And Lee Van Cleef has like, oh God, at the very beginning too, when he unfurls his like gun pouch where he's got like 4 or 5 different rifles, and then his handgun has like
it's
a
thing.
huge like shoulder I don't know what they call it, butt or whatever, and he shoots Clint's hat off from like quite a distance, and then he keeps it up in the air and keeps shooting it, and it's like they both come at the same time, and they go and get a drink together after.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
The hat in the air scene is great. It's the original hacky sack.
Yeah.
Don't let it fall.
The hippies in the 60s were like, that's a great idea, man. Yeah.
In Smash Bros lingo, we call that juggling. Juggling the hat, keeping it up in the air.
See Jordan, Smash Bros. He's listening.
Yeah.
He's listening. Smash Bros.
Great relationship, and it was fun kind of like watching them hatch a plan together. And even, there's moments where Clint tries to give Lee the slip, but like Lee's too smart for that and shows up like where he was going to go. Because at one point, like Clint becomes like embedded in the gang.
Yes.
Which is actually quite funny how he just winds up there from breaking out the prisoners.
Yeah, he helps them rescue one of their gang members. And then Lee Van Cleef shoots him in the neck to make him more believable or something. Or that happens later on. I can't, He
becomes part of the gang. And during the jailbreak, during the robbery at the bank, he kills the 3 other guys that he was teamed up with and is going to go off and join the bad guys. Yeah, Lee Van Cleef shoots him in the neck so that it doesn't appear too suspicious, which ends up saving his life, basically.
Absolutely.
And he tells him, okay, take them up north through like Rio Bravo. Westerns. And that's a great spot for an ambush. And Clint tells Indio the opposite. And then they show up at this like weird little kind of small outpost or town or whatever. And that's the place where Indio's like it looks so much like a morgue and it could so easily be. And then very much it is. They all die there.
Yeah.
But Lee Van Cleef is already there. So they end up in this like town, I guess. And that's where like some of the double crossing starts. So Chief Queef is like, he's like, you guys need me as the safecracker.
Did you say Chief Queef?
Yeah. Lee Van Cleef.
Chief. Oh, I see.
Chief Queef. Chief Cleef.
You've merged the two. Sorry.
I'm just riffing, man. I'm just Taika Waititi.
You're riffing at a sublime level.
I'm riffing at a level that was freaking sublime. And there's a little kind of side plot. So one of we have to talk about Klaus Kinski.
Yes.
Schrei ich oder schrei ich nicht? Und du sagst es mir nicht, aber ich schrei aber nicht. Leg mich doch am Arsch weg. Der Moment ist überhaupt gekommen, wo ich dir in die Fresse haue. Was? Diesmal schlag ich in die Fresse, lauf, hast du dich verlassen, du. Diesmal sitze ich in dem Kostüm in deiner scheiß Karre in Holland.
Mach zu. Trau dich nur.
Was schlag ich zusammen,
Trau dich nur.
Wenn du zu frech wirst.
Trau dich
Dieser
nur.
Streit hier, nebenbei mitgefilmt, betraf den verdienstvollen Produktionsleiter Walter Sachser. Zufälligerweise war ich einmal nicht
Euer
gemeint.
Gewichse mit eurer Freundschaft, ich möchte dir einen Dreck. Wir brauchen einen Fotografen. Verstehst du? Na mach doch deinen Scheiß.
One of the guys in the gang is Klaus Kinski, and I looked, and it's the earliest performance of his that I've seen. I guess it's the same year as he pops up in Dr. Zhivago, and he doesn't really. It's a pretty small role. He's a hunchback.
Was very surprised to see him.
Yeah, the first time that he meets Cleef in the bar, he strikes a match off his hump, which I imagine would be pretty degrading. And he reaches for the gun, but it's like they're going to pull off their robbery. They can't like kill him in the bar, right?
Yeah.
So later on, when Cleef already shows up in the town before they even get there, Klaus Kinski recognizes him and challenges him to like a standoff, and he's very quickly killed. But when he talks, like it's the only time he talks in the movie, and it's just like because we know what he sounds like. He's got such a iconic voice and everything.
Scheiß!
It's clearly not him, and he's kind of whiny. He's like, you struck a match off my hump. Reach for the skies. And it's really weird. But the Klaus Kinski, the Kinski madness is on display. You can see him twitching, and you're like, he's not acting there.
It's kind of perfect that he plays like a hunchback, that feels more in line with Klaus Kinski. Because his character's name is just like, it's like Juan David or something. But it's
his name is Juan Wild.
Yeah, Juan Wild. And it's freaking...
That's also an alias Kinski used.
Oh, no.
On some of his benders.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's clearly, the unmistakable Klaus Kinski. So it's just funny to have him.
Yeah, I mean, he's honestly quite handsome.
We still haven't talked about my favorite character.
Who's your favorite character?
I'm just making sure I got the character's name correct. It's Old Prophet. Who
Oh,
lives
yeah.
in the little cabin by the railway.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, the guy who helps him along. Do you think it's the same old guy who helped him in Fistful of Dollars? It might be.
The same actor?
The same actor.
It very
yeah.
much is.
Oh, okay,
Oh,
great. Yeah.
Joseph Egger from Austria. He's an
Nice.
Austrian character
Yeah.
actor.
That's what's fun about these spaghetti westerns is you have like a bunch of European character actors like
Yeah.
that guy or Klaus Kinski all playing like Mexican bandits and stuff like
Yeah.
that, and like border town prospectors or whatnot.
Yeah.
It's quite fun.
It represents a very diverse view of the Old West.
Yeah.
Where
And it was filmed in that place I visited in Spain. Confirmed.
you actually
Mini Hollywood.
have been to the set of this movie.
For a few dollars more, and
Yeah.
Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, among some other
It's crazy.
westerns, probably. Yeah, but
That's
I was
crazy.
I was
really
an
cool.
unappreciative 16-year-old when I was there. I was like, I don't care.
I would have ate that up.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
know.
Damn.
There's a great scene that I really enjoyed where Lee Van Cleef kind of ingratiates himself into the gang by being like, I can open a safe without blowing it up.
Yeah,
Which is
right.
the only way
Right after he shoots Klaus Kinski.
Yeah, yeah.
He
wins.
he's-
He curries favor.
Yeah, he's like, don't worry, like you need me, and he does it, with his little similar to how my AI operates with
Fluid-based.
with fluid.
Yeah.
He uses little acid to like break into the safe. Yeah.
Where did he get said acid?
I think he's just like 5 steps ahead.
Yeah.
He's
Okay.
just been carrying it around.
Yeah, he's
you
been
know?
waiting for this
Yeah.
moment.
Yeah, great little scene. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, and then basically like they
can't-
eventually they get found out that these two are in cahoots, right?
Yes, because they can't leave. El Indio doesn't want them to leave and split ways with the money yet,
Yeah,
for some reason.
We gotta wait here for 30 days.
Yeah.
yeah.
Which there were a bunch of choices kind of in as the movie went on that like El Indio made of, the double crossing his own men or whatever when they expose.
He's
Clint
he's
and
like going
Lee.
crazy, right?
So that it's
I
just
think-
it's just madness.
I
It's
think
just
so.
money madness.
It's money madness, but it's also like he's racked with guilt from unrepentantly being the worst person in New Mexico.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
So
sort
that
of
makes
like
sense.
Walter White.
No, yeah, he was giving Walter White
Yeah,
for sure.
yeah, and so he's like double crossing and killing his own men and
Yeah.
all this stuff, right? To try to make away with more of the score, right? And he lets Cleef and Eastwood go.
Yeah.
Being like, they're more valuable to us that way because we're going to get the men to go after them, and then they're way better at shooting than our men, so they'll kill everybody, and then you and me, like his other sort of main enforcer guy, will split the whole thing. But then that guy gets killed. And,
Yeah.
yeah, and then they just kill everybody, and
So-
it's awesome.
I agree. It's awesome. And as I was watching it unfold, I wasn't unhappy with anything that was unfolding. I was just kind of like confused a bit or perplexed by some of those choices.
Decision-making.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I understand, the reefer madness and the guilt and whatever. That I guess makes a bit more sense. But
I don't know. None of this really bothered me. Like
no, and it didn't. Again, I was enjoying what I was seeing, but it did kind of I was scratching my head a bit as it was happening, and that's the only kind of knock I really have against the movie. TBH.
My only knock is I thought the scenes leading up to the El Paso. What is it? El Paso.
El Paso.
Why am I
Like the
saying
taco
Eldo?
kid.
Yeah, El Paso bank robbery were awesome. Where they were counting the steps of the guards, and there were some really beautiful shots of. I think the henchman's name is Groggy.
Yes, there is a henchman named Groggy.
Yeah,
He's the
and
last
his
to
face
die.
takes up the majority of the screen, but in the back you can see the bank and the guards, and it's wonderful. And all that build up is excellent, but the actual bank robbery scene itself was kind of. I thought it was going to be more.
It's
it's
quick.
simple, yeah. 'cause
Yeah.
they
They just blow a hole in the back
It's
and
not
they're
like a
gone.
heist, Yeah,
Yeah.
they blow it up and
Yeah.
then they steal.
I don't
it.
know
Yeah,
what I
it's
was
great.
expecting. Some sort of Danny Ocean.
Which
Yeah.
is funny because of all that
Yeah.
build-up. Yeah,
Yeah.
getting it precise, and then that's like a Simpsons joke or
Yeah.
It is
something,
funny,
playing
yeah, it
something
is
out and
funny.
then just brute forcing it.
Yeah, and I mean, Cleef and Eastwood are kind of like, oh shit, I guess it's over.
Yeah.
There they go. Yeah, it all just builds to a big shootout, and then of course a final confrontation between
The
Mexican
three of them.
standoff.
The Mexican standoff,
Yeah.
which is visually similar to
Very
how
similar
it's
to
set
The
up
Good,
in
the Bad, the Ugly, yeah.
Good, the Bad, and the Ugly.
Yeah.
Except that, so this is when we learn about the revenge plot. El Indio is doing his stopwatch thing again.
The song is actually "Love Sosa"
Love
by
Sosa.
Chief Cleef.
Oh yes, yeah, he's playing the Chief Keef song, And he says when when the beat stops, you can pick up your gun and whatever, right? And we'll face off, right?
Yeah.
And so the music, and then that's when you see the flashback, and it's all revealed, like, okay, and you assume there's some relation, right, between them. And then right when the music is about to end, it keeps going, and you see Clint Eastwood has taken Cleef's watch and used it, and I guess that's enough sort of to trip up El Indio, right? Because he's, this music obviously is like makes him a little psychotic or whatever, right? Like, and puts him into this sort of like weird headspace, like,
Might throw his timing off too. Longer.
Yeah, he's like totally taken aback by it. And then, Clint Eastwood's pointing a big like shotgun at him or something. And so then he gives Keith, I can't remember his real name anymore. He gives Chief Cleef his gun. And it's like, now it's a fair fight, right? And easily, he kills him. Like it's no problem.
It's my favorite part of Eastwood's performance is how he handles the two of them in that duel. It's almost like he knows that he's just almost like not even a participant in this, right? But he's guiding them to take
he's the referee.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He's like a
fair fight, boys.
Tennis match umpire.
Yeah. He sets it all up, and I mean, he knows what'll happen. Like, and so El India's killed. They're like, well, I guess you will split the money, and Cleef's like, no, it turns out I was all in it for revenge. I don't need any of this money. I don't need any of these thousands of dollars. And then, they're Mr. Groggy at the end. He's still alive. Clint is in there. He's got all the dead bodies in the cart.
He's counting
counting up the bounty, and he's like,
it doesn't add up to 25,000.
Yeah, I'm missing something. And the guy, like, come on. It's like he doesn't even have a chance. Like,
he gets his moment. Clint Eastwood gets his moment too, to have his little like
shoot him. He shoots him right in the head too. And you actually, because a lot of the shots, there's not really any squibs or whatever.
Yeah.
Or even like bullet holes, blood or whatever. But in this one you see, he's got an entry and an exit wound. He gets him right in the head, just with the classic like spinning around thing. And actually that reminds me of like the thing that happens so much in this movie, and I laughed every single time, is when any of the guys with guns shoot something inanimate just to like prove a point. So obviously the hat shooting, right? But then they're also shooting fruit off a tree to prove that they're good. The one of the bad guy, when Groggy comes in at the beginning, he shoots the guy's spur, and it's spinning, and then he shoots it again to stop it. Every single time. Oh, when they shoot off Clint's cigar out of his mouth, it's so funny every single time, because it's like, I'm not a weapons specialist, but I think it's well known that those like revolvers were not particularly accurate. And they're all like, everybody in the movie is like a master gunman, more or less. They're every single person does like a William Tell every time, just with their buddies, just to like prove a point, or to
dangerous way to prove their masculinity.
To measure dicks.
I'm gonna fire off a shot
it's
here.
It's really funny how many times it happens.
Also, a Simpsons joke when Homer gets a gun and he's like turning off the lights with his gun and stuff like that.
Yeah, changing the channel on the TV.
You just do everything with your gun.
Yeah.
Anyone else want a beer?
Homer, you use your gun as a can opener?
I use it for everything. Watch me turn on the TV.
It would have been fun if instead of Groggy or Gorgy, whatever his name was, it was Grogu from The Mandalorian and Gorgu.
That would be fun.
Yeah, you're right. That would be very fun.
That'd be fun.
Yeah. It would be fun. It would be confusing. It would be unexpected.
Yeah.
To take it into a sci-fi sort of space at the end.
Then Clint just puts a bullet between his Yoda eyes.
Yeah.
What I found particularly interesting in my 3 minutes of research on the subway over here was one of the Wikipedia entries just said it helped to validate in the eyes of the public the role of a bounty hunter.
I saw that too.
I was just thinking of a young dog, the bounty hunter, watching this, being like, you know what?
Yeah.
I was on the fence for this profession.
Yeah, this is legit. It's so funny. I know that was Kim Newman, the English critic who knows his stuff, so I have to believe it's true. Yeah. But like, how is that possibly like quantifiable? Like that you're like,
exactly.
This. Yeah, before this movie where. This movie that has bounty hunters killing like swaths of people.
Yeah,
it was really seen as a dirty profession. But after this,
How many
get it.
med school students dropped out to pursue their real dream of becoming bounty hunters?
Yeah, or lawyers, right? They're
Yeah.
like, you know what? I'm not going to take the bar. I've found a new way to uphold justice.
I studied
justice.
bounty hunting at Columbia.
yeah.
I took the
It does
4-year
seem like
bounty.
something George Brown would offer, though.
George Brown bounty hunting.
Bounty hunting, yeah. Well, we went to Queens, right? So they only had an ethics of bounty hunting course.
Yeah. It was bounty hunting theory versus bounty hunting practice.
Yeah. Ugh,
It does
awful.
remind. I did legitimately take a course at Western called the Philosophy of Terrorism.
Oh yeah. Well,
So-
that's a great course.
Yeah. So it's similar, right? Philosophy
Yeah.
of bounty
Yeah.
hunting.
For sure, yeah.
Philosophy of terrorism, like it's a long way around to just end up at. It's good.
Yeah. Well, the prof said if you can write a paper about how 9/11 was justified, then you get 100% of the course. Everyone tried, and we got to read everyone's paper. There were some wild card theories,
Yeah.
man.
Damn.
Net there was no way
Did
of
anyone
really
get it? Because
no.
that seems like that seems like the way of the professor saying it wasn't justified.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
But I could
no
write.
one-
I could write a paper saying it was
Queens students could, Western students couldn't.
I was
Yeah.
too busy at where did I go?
Western.
Seeps. Yeah. That's the
Seeps?
bar.
Is that the bar?
The oldest bar in London?
That's a creepy name.
Yeah. They had buck of beer.
Oh yeah.
That tasted like burnt popcorn. Anyway, we're off track, but
Yeah, the Old West.
Yeah,
That's
Old
the Old
Western.
Western. Yeah.
it was interesting to see Roger Ebert. I know he's not, everyone's favorite film critic, but he did not like this movie.
Well,
Yeah,
He said it was more
He doesn't like a lot of good
situations.
stuff.
He said
Yeah.
it was more a series of situations than it was any coherent plot.
Yeah, it seems like a lot of contemporary reviews in the States are like, oh, these movies are just really cliche.
Yeah.
And I don't know. Maybe it's one of those things where it's like, this is too much for you guys, but your kids are going to love it. Like, I don't know.
maybe. I like the story in this one because
It's great. It's great. Yeah,
Fistful
they're
of
buddies.
Dollars is essentially a remake of Yojimbo, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, no, it's not the most novel original tale of the Old West, but he did his darnest to come up with an original story and executed it really well. So hats off.
Yeah.
Shoot your hat off.
Shoot your hat off. Keep it in the air as long as you can.
Juggle it.
Yeah.
So how many more dollars out of $10 would you give this movie?
I'm going to give it the most dollars I can.
Wow,
Yeah.
$10.
I think
$10.
I think every movie in this franchise is kind of perfect in its own way.
That's
A
great.
full $10, yeah.
It is interesting reading that most people consider this to be the weakest. Although I do think
Yeah,
there's a way this is like there is a coming around to it.
Well, its
I don't
name
know.
is
I
so
was
similar to
super
Fistful of Dollars.
impressed.
Maybe they're just mistaking the two.
Potentially.
No.
It is funny that it's called the Dollars Trilogy. And the Good, the Bad, the Ugly is just like, yeah, I'm not.
Forget it.
Yeah, whatever, man. I got a unique title.
How many more dollars do you give this movie out of $10?
I'm low on dollars, but I'll give it all my Cine Club points.
Nice.
That's
great.
Yeah.
That's worth their weight in
No,
gold.
I really enjoyed this movie, and I forgot how long The Good, the Bad, the Ugly was. I was going to watch that, repeat watch.
Yeah.
This one's still fairly long.
2 hours and change. Yeah.
2 hours
2:10.
and change.
Yeah.
But it
Something like
felt like it was very digestible. It
Oh,
was very
yeah.
easy to follow. Whereas I recall, and I haven't seen The Good, the Bad, the Ugly in a while. It's just it is more of a epic
Yeah.
Sure.
in a lot of ways, where I feel like this one is, again, just more you can sit down. It's not overly complex. The bad guys are clear.
Goes down smooth.
Goes down smooth.
like
Yeah.
a glass of sarsaparilla.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a real sarsaparilla cinema.
Goes
For
down
sure.
smooth like a glass of sarsaparilla from your local tavern in Agua Dulce.
Oh, one thing I wanted to mention too is like, did you end up finishing Once Upon a Time in the West?
No,
Have you seen that, Max?
No, is
No?
that the Henry Fonda one?
Yes. So the pocket watch thing and the music and the flashbacks and the revenge is very reminiscent of what he would go on to do in Once Upon a Time in the West
Yeah.
with
It's
the,
not before. It's after.
No, it's
this.
after. Yeah,
interesting.
with the Henry Fonda character and the Charles Bronson character, harmonica. His name is. It's with a harmonica instead of pocket watch.
But he also plays Love Sosa on the harmonica.
yeah, of course, yeah,
No, I had to go to Mexico, but now that I'm back,
yeah.
nothing's stopping
It
me
sounds
from
like you did
finishing.
nothing on that trip but watch movies in your hotel room.
No, that was only
Which
at
I
night.
appreciate.
Yeah,
that was
that's
only at
great.
night when I was home alone.
Yeah, fair enough.
I'm gonna give it $8 more out of $10. I think it's great. I think there's bigger things on the horizon.
Yep. I can't wait.
Me
And I have the 4K from Kino Lorber, because these movies, like the physical media releases, are kind of weird. Like the Blu-ray I watched this on last night, I thought looked pretty good, but it has like a lot of damage on it still. And there's all these like technical things you read about in forums or whatever, where they're like, it's never had a proper release. And like, I am not an expert in that sort of thing. So I don't know. It looks good to me, but I'm curious to see like Good, the Bad, and the Ugly in like whatever is the newest kind of transfer they have.
Yeah.
Because that will also like all these movies, it'll be like watching it again for the first time. And yeah, maybe because we got to get Jordan on, and maybe we should try to watch together.
Well, that'd be cool because I just have some Blu-ray of it.
Yeah, which I'm sure is
I'm sure
perfectly
it's
fine.
Totally.
Yeah, that's the thing is, I'm sure the DVD looks pretty good too.
But it's no Kino Lorber 4K. Whoa.
Yeah.
I have no idea what he was talking about when he said that. I just agreed. And I was like, I thought that was your friend's copy, and I was just like, okay.
4K ultra high definition is the new Blu-ray.
Yeah, but
It's
who's
4
Kino
times-
Lorber?
It's 4 times the K.
Kino Lorber is like Janus Films.
Kino
They,
Lorber is a film company. It's a distribution company.
It's not a man.
Okay,
Yeah.
Here's you guys can call me stupid. It's fine. When I first got access to Alex's Criterion channel,
Yeah.
I was like, why have I never heard of this Janus Films company? They seem to have produced every movie ever made. And I
That's funny.
I
You
initially
see the
thought
logo before all the
I
movies?
thought that they were just like, oh wow,
They were the A24
Yeah,
of like their
exactly.
time. Yeah.
Well, kind of. I mean,
Yeah.
you know, they've been distributing, whatever quote unquote art house movies in North America for ages.
Yeah. They just like restore and distribute, right?
yeah.
Yeah, I mean they I don't know. They were I don't know. I don't think they actually make stuff necessarily, but
One of the cheapest but yet hardest laughs I ever had was when I went to go see Eraserhead at TIFF, and the Janus Film logo came up and everyone was quiet, and someone in the crowd went, "Ha, J Anus."
yeah, really good. Yeah, clever.
So dumb, but like
There is a film distribution company called Anus Films that like puts out porn and queer films. Yeah,
Nice.
it's quite funny. You can get a shirt too with it.
Anus
It's the same.
Films.
Anus
It's the
Films.
same logo, like and everything. Yeah,
that's great.
yeah.
Oh, it's a parody of Janus, but
Yeah,
it just
yeah,
says
yeah.
Anus Films. That's hilarious.
yeah.
That's very good.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah, they put out good stuff.
Just before porn comes up, that like somber black and white logo,
Yeah,
Anus Films.
yeah.
Good. Well, yeah, next week we'll be talking about the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Yeah, il bueno, il brute, il
Cattivo.
uglio. Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's one last thing I wanted to say is I have those like some film or Blu-rays will come with little like art cards like of posters for movies they're going to release in the future. And there's one, I don't remember which movie it is, but it's another Western that came out after this, like another spaghetti Western starring Lee Van Cleef. And the tagline is Mr. Ugly comes to town. And there's a couple of things. Okay. Number one, like if of the three people, he's the bad, right?
Yeah.
He's not Mr. Ugly. Number two, do you think that ever like got to hurt his feelings? Do you think that ever bothered him? That he's like,
That bothered Lee Van Cleef?
yeah, that he's like.
I feel
everyone
bad for Eli Wallach.
Yeah, exactly.
I know. Yeah, Eli Wallach, star of The Holiday.
I know.
Great film.
Yeah.
Really good performance too. Honestly, he's very good in that.
I don't know. The one with Jack Black?
Yeah, there's a whole
He's
subplot.
like a sweet composer. Is that what?
Yeah, or screenwriter maybe.
Screenwriter, maybe.
He's like a forgotten Hollywood legend who Kate Winslet, her like side story when she's not being romanced by Jack Black is that she's dealing with this old Hollywood screenwriter who's like, nobody respects me anymore.
Who's
And-
Eli Wallach?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Anyway, we should do that. We should carve out another week to do The Holiday after this. You know?
Sure.
Instead of Fistful of Dynamite / Duck You Sucker / Once Upon a Time in the West.
movies.
Yeah. Anyway.
Well, thank you, Max, for coming on.
Of course.
yeah,
Thank you for
thanks.
having me.
Come back anytime.
All your Letterboxd followers will be thrilled to finally hear you speak.
Yeah, shout out to Rob. That's the only one I
Is
can
that
recall.
Rob? Is that our Rob?
Yeah, Rob,
Yeah, I don't
Rob
have
loves
Nice.
none of my
Max's
friends
reviews.
are on Letterboxd.
There you
They're all
go.
Alex's.
Yeah, you know what? I will say shout out Rob. And
Shout
shout
out
out
Rob.
Alex. Shout
Rob
out
is
Jordan.
the one with the little dinosaur logo.
Shout
right?
out-
The
Yeah,
Godzilla. Yeah, shout out
it's,
Rob.
it's Manila, son of Godzilla.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, well, yeah. I'm still reading that. I'm still reading Crying of Lot 49, the Thomas Pynchon book.
Okay.
And there was one character who has a boat, and the boat's name is Godzilla 2. And I don't know why. It's like so far out of a book that is so incredibly dense with like brilliant jokes. When they were like, the boat's name is Godzilla 2, that was the time I actually laughed out loud. And I think that's like indicative of my idiocy. Just being like, that's the funniest thing that's happened in the book so far.
Well, it's Tom Pynchon, so I'm not surprised.
Yeah, a brilliant mind.
See you next week, folks.
Next week.
All right. Thank you, everyone.
Head on with that cold, bro. Now that boy slumped over.